Hey, can we talk? Better yet, can I ask you a question? Do you believe in love at first sight? I wouldn't blame you if you didn't, and I would understand if you did. Personally, I do. I think I believe in love at first sight because I believe sometimes when you see somebody, you do definitely just know. And I don't mean this just know in that, that cringy cliche movie thing, but at the same time, I do. I do believe that love is exactly like that. I do believe that love is cringy and cliche sometimes, just as much as it's, very monotone and, very straight to the point. I believe love can be many different things, but I believe love at first sight really does tell us a lot about how we as people develop and grow into the type of person that we want to be when we're older. Now, I believe love at first sight happens for a multitude of reasons. But if you were to ask me which one I believe the most, I would likely tell you that I believe love at first sight happens when your soul identifies something that you never really thought you'd resonate with, or at least that you never really understood that you would resonate with. And now, what do I mean by it's your soul? Now, a lot of people may not believe in your soul or believing you have such, and I don't want to get too far into what I believe a soul is, but essentially, I believe there is a part of you that holds something so profoundly important, very well the entire essence of your being. And I believe that in many moments, that core essence of what it means to truthfully be you, I think it leaks out sometimes. It leaks out of this shell that we have as ourselves and that we masquerade behind. And I think that true version of yourself often at times meets somebody else's true version of themselves in a way that you guys never even understood. And I believe that is what happens when someone experiences love at first sight. I believe it is your soul recognizing something it has longed for ages and ages and ages. Now, I believe personally that I was always going to be me. And what I mean by that essentially is I believe that God would see fit to me being me no matter what would happen. Whether my mom decided to, buy girl clothes to prep or not, or whether somebody moved a token over to the left on March 23rd, I believe no matter what would have happened on that day, I was always going to be a boy. I was always going to be me. And I believe in many cases, people will always be themselves. And that's the tricky part because who somebody is truthfully doesn't always align with who they are truthfully inside. I think that outer shell of you tells us way different story than who you are deeply because I believe as human beings we don't understand enough about ourselves to completely say, who we are deeply inside. And that's what makes love at first sight such an interesting question for me and such an interesting, topic of discussion because I believe that something deep, deep, deep down can and will identify what you've always wanted. Your eyes can only do so much of the work. When you experience love at first sight, something almost magical seems to spring out of what felt like nowhere. But to love someone is to feel like you've known them for a long time. And to feel love at first sight is almost like having a familiar face from a stranger. You feel in every sense of a way like you've known this before. Maybe this is something that, maybe this is one of those cases where it's like, okay, hey, maybe there was lives before this one. I've never been too big on that type of idea, but I love the idea that we truthfully don't know how the human body works with emotions. And that is very important on the topic I wanted to get into today. Because what we're not, well, no, what we are talking about isn't whether you believe in love at first sight. My true question to you is, do you understand your emotions enough to write them off? No. How often can you say you look at your own emotions and genuinely can identify each and every one of them and where they came from and why you feel that way and how you'll remedy it? I can't say that happens very often. Can you? I wouldn't think so. And that is very important. I believe as people, as teenagers, as anyone, we should stop thinking so much on our feelings as if we understand everything. Not everything we feel can be understood by our minds at this time. Learn to let your feelings play out. Learn to let your feelings linger. Let your feelings blossom and grow into whatever they need to become, because truthfully, we don't know enough about it on the surface to close ourselves off from anything. To close yourself off from experiences and to close yourself off from love and feelings, all because they seem hard or undeterminable at the time, is a little shallow. You have no idea what you're taking away from yourself. I believe that, as I said before, I will always be me. But who I am can constantly change if I'm not putting in the effort to make that a good person. You will always be you. But if you close yourself off to experiences, emotions, you will not be the same you that you were meant to be. Think about that. Now, a lot of the time, I do end up just talking and just saying whatever. And I tend to beat around the bush. So, for the sake of making sure we all understand just a little better, we'll run the whole thing back one last time. Hello. Do you believe in love at first sight? I think you should. I think we don't understand our feelings enough to identify every which way we've ever experienced something. And it is for that reason I think you should never close yourself off to experiences that you don't understand. Guard your feelings the same way you would guard your heart, the same way you would protect your family and friends. Guard them. Do not close yourself off from them. You were always meant to be you. But that doesn't mean that the way you do things, the way you experience things, the way you shut yourself off from things will lead you to being the you that is a good person. We don't understand enough about anything that has to do with human emotions. You know, people have studied this for years and years and years and years and years, and there will be plenty of things we never understand. So don't pretend to understand all of your feelings at once. Let them play out. Give yourself time to learn and grow. Grow into the person you are always going to be. And make sure that person is somebody you can be proud of. I hope this video finds everyone in good health. And thank you for listening.